Hey fellas, I want to do another video, and this one I want to just talk about going to church to work. Now, a lot of people have gone to church today. Today is Sunday. A lot of people went to church today. They sat down, they listened to a great sermon, they heard the choir singing, and they went back home. And that was the extent of their religious activity. And many of you, that's what you did. You really felt like you did something, that you put your religious obligation in, and that God is happy. And let me tell you that may be a good starting place, but if that is what you have been doing for an extended amount of time, you are not doing enough. You have to come to church to work. You should be able to go to church and say to somebody outside of the church, this is what I do at church. Now, I want to bring this back. In the book of Acts, you see the creation of the church. And when the church was started, people had different roles, right? People were donating their own houses to the church. People were working constantly for the church, and a lot of them were not getting paid. And we have this mentality nowadays that when we come to church, we go to church to be entertained, and we go to church for other people to do things. We have a you attitude, right? They need to change this. They need to change that. Man, this church will be better if they did this. And instead of us understanding that knowledge, that revelation that they need to do this should instead be, I need to do this to make the church better. People are looking at the church as if they would look at a theater, right? You go to a theater, it's somebody else's business. You really don't have an investment in there. You don't own that theater. So when you go in that theater and you see something messed up, you say, man, they should fix this. If they did fix this, their business will be better. But it's not really, you don't feel any weight that anything should be done, right? It's not your business. Well, that's how a lot of people and a lot of you guys are going to church. You're going to church like it's somebody else's business. And the truth of the matter is, when you look at the word of God, it talks about God's children. And if you really understand biblical children or biblical sonship, the son completes the work of the father, right? So the reason that Solomon was king is because David was king. David died, so he couldn't complete his work of being king of the people of God, so Solomon is a king. And that was the same for almost any job, right? Your father is a wine dresser, you're a wine dresser. Your father's a farmer, you're a farmer, etc., right? If we're going to call ourselves the children of God, and we can go to church and we don't think we own anything of that work, I'm scared for you, because there's two different types of religions that you can have. One type of religion is sincere and heartfelt and creates a change. And that person will see God and speak to him honestly when he sees him face to face, and he will see God and he will have no fear. The second type of person is doing church as a cultural thing. And for him, church is as far as people can see. For him, church is an activity that people should do. It's not that much different than voting. Even if you're not all that politically active, you vote because you feel you should vote. You don't want to hear people talking to you about you should vote. So that's why you do it, right? You think, and when you get done with it, you feel good. You say, man, I did my civic obligation. You don't necessarily follow the news or follow the latest things going on in Congress, because that's not really your thing. But hey, you did your part. That's how a lot of people view church. And I got a surprise for you guys. When you get to heaven, you might not get in. Because here's the thing, you're not invested. See, I don't treat my father's house the same way I treat some other man's house. Because when I go there, I say to myself, when my kids leave here, my dad got to clean this up. And in another sense, I could say, what's my father's may eventually be mine, right? So there also be some kind of ownership that when you come to your father's house, that you would have differently when you go to somebody else's house. A lot of you guys are just visiting somebody's house. It's not really your father's house. It's somebody's house, but it's not yours. You don't have any ownership because you really don't belong there. You're just a visitor. And if you're just a visitor, don't think that that gives you a pass to get into heaven, because it doesn't. So, hey, take what I say with a grain of salt. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but I think your heart is going to convict you and tell you that I do. So, hey, take heed of what I'm saying. I'm not saying this for no reason. I know a lot of you guys need to hear this. Thank you.